Have you ever wondered whether someday we will find the fountain of youth and be able to live longer than evolution or nature has allowed us to? Hello, my name is Anthony Mendez, and in this video we're going to explore some of the information and possibilities that we have in the near future to live longer. And I think this is very interesting because there are a couple of things that may extend our lives for a couple of decades maybe. So let's explore. Every animal has an average life expectancy depending on their environment and how dangerous it is and so on. Giraffes live on average 27 years. Oak trees live for about 150 years. Otters live an average of 15 years. Sea lions an average of 25 years. And humans? Well, this is interesting because back in the 1800s, we had an average life expectancy of 31 years of age. Today, about 200 years later, we now have an average life expectancy of over 70 years of age. This is interesting because it looks like we are already extending human life. Are we? If we continue to improve healthcare and simply get better and better at it, won't we be able to just continuously extend life little by little? Could we get to the point where we're so good at taking care of ourselves that we could live to be 200, maybe 300 years old? No, not really. It appears that we have a maximum life of about 120 years. And worse than, we live a lot of those years in bad health, struggling to live. So what can we do to live not only longer, but healthier than that of the average human? So scientists are looking at a lot of things that could extend our lives. But there's three things that I believe are in the near future that possibly even you and I will see and maybe even benefit from them. So let's take a look at these three. The first thing we're going to take a look at is senescent cells. Your cells have a life expectancy as well. An expiration date per se. Your cells divide and copy their chromosomes. Each time they divide, they get damaged. However, to protect ourselves, we have long segments of DNA called telomeres at the end of our chromosomes to protect us. However, with every division, these get smaller and smaller, to the point where they're completely gone. When these are done, the cell is supposed to die. However, some cells don't quite want to die, and they become senescent cells. Not quite dead, but not quite alive. They're not useful for anything, and in fact, these senescent cells damage other healthy cells around them. These senescent cells have been linked to things like kidney failure and diabetes. So what if we can remove these senescent cells or make them die some way? Scientists genetically engineered mice to be able to kill their own senescent cells, and these mice grew up healthier. Their organs worked better, they were less likely to have cancer, and they lived 30% longer than the average mice, in addition to living a larger portion of their life in a healthy state. Now, this is very interesting. What if we did this with humans? Unfortunately, it's way too difficult at this point to genetically engineer an entire human. So this same thing at this point in time with the current technology is not very possible. However, there is another possibility that is much more promising. Cells that turn into senescent cells is because they're missing a protein that tells them when to die. This is known as apoptosis. And in 2016, scientists took some of this protein and injected it into mice. What happened? The mice killed 80% of their senescent cells while damaging almost no healthy cells. Now, this is promising because with this, we could possibly inject that protein into humans and kill a large portion of senescent cells while not damaging the healthy cells. These mice that were injected with this protein became much healthier. They grew back hair and their organs worked much better. For this reason, a lot of scientists and a lot of laboratories are looking into this technology for humans, and we could see this in the next couple of decades. Another promising thing that we're looking at is NAD+. This is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Sorry if I said that wrong. Anyway, our body creates cells through a complex process, as if we were a factory. But as we get older, parts get damaged, systems stop working, and also slow down. And as we age, this NAD+ begins to diminish in amounts in our body, and it's something important. This NAD plus tells our cells to protect themselves. So as they reduce, our cells begin to die more rapidly. So what could we do about this? One consideration was to make NAD plus in a pill form and be able to take it. However, the NAD plus won't enter our cells, so that won't work. However, there are other substances that scientists have found do enter cells and then become NAD+. In 2016, trials on mice showed that they had an increased level of multiplication of their muscle stem cells, skin stem cells, and brain stem cells. This meant that these mice were better able to repair their DNA for a longer portion of their life and had larger numbers of cells, which meant they were healthier. And even NASA has taken an interest in this technology because this could improve the ability of astronauts to deal with radiation, as in space there is cosmic radiation and radiation from the sun which damages the DNA. So this is potentially something that we could also see in the next couple of decades. Next thing to look at is stem cells. Stem cells are very interesting. In fact, you may have already heard of these, but simplifying, stem cells are cells with no particular job, nothing really to do. All they do is multiply themselves and become more cells. But these cells can also become specialized cells. They can become brain cells, muscle cells, skin cells, many other cells. We have hundreds of different cells in our bodies, and these stem cells can become them. So what can we do with stem cells? Well, it sounds like stem cells is kind of the base of which we build our body, the material in which we use. So it's pretty important, right? But as we age, these stem cells and these stem cell replications begin to reduce, and we have less and less as we age. As a consequence, we begin to have health issues, and we too begin to diminish. Scientists took stem cells from a baby mice and injected it into the brain of a middle-aged mice, and particularly into the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is responsible for a lot of bodily functions, but essentially they injected it into the older mice, and what happened was very interesting. Not only did the body have more stem cells to work with, but it also reinvigorated older cells by secreting microRNAs. It was observed in these mice that they got much healthier with better mental function, muscle function than the average mice, and lived 10% longer while also living a larger portion of their life with more energy and ability to do more. This is very interesting as well. Just as the other two, this could be something within the next couple of decades or even sooner. Something that we ourselves could experience. But as you might have already realized, this is just a couple of decades that we're looking at extending. I mean, maybe we'll be able to live to 200 years of age, maybe. But what if we could live much longer, 600, 700, 1,000 years? Is it possible to extend life far beyond what is ever possible with today's technology? Now, that's complicated. The most obvious solution would be to upload your mind into the cloud, into an internal system that would never die. And this is very complicated. So we'll take a look at this in another video. For now, that's all we're going to be looking at. All of these technologies could potentially extend human life in the next couple of decades, something that we might see. And this is very interesting, but as we can see, there's not one single thing that we can do to cure old age once and for all. There are so many systems and so much going on inside of our bodies that is responsible for aging. For this reason, it is so complicated to figure out how we can extend life. But I'm, as always, pretty optimistic for what we can accomplish. Who knows, we may never have to upload our mind into a cloud. We may be able to get to an advanced point where we can repair every single aspect of our body and it becomes unnecessary. However, I still believe we're probably going to end up uploading our minds at some point, because then, there's so many other benefits where we can modify our minds, become modular. There's just so many other things. And as humans, as we're kind of messed up in the head, we're probably going to end up doing crazy stuff like that someday. It seems pretty scary right now, but someday it's just going to be how it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.